In the previous video, I went over my reasonings and methodology for buying Asian Pokemon promos as they sheepishly entered my investor bro phase. That video showcased two promos in particular, the Korean Metamon Project Ditto promo and the Japanese McDonald's promo, which I'll henceforth call the BurgerChu. I'll be giving an update on both, but first I wanted to show off something that I just got in the mail. Not ashamed to admit that I agonized for far too long over which grading service to choose, but obviously I ended up with Tag. Because the quality of the card was so good, I wanted to go with a service that offered a tier beyond just a regular gem mint. Tag has Pristine, and Beckett, of course, has the mythical Black Label. I also wanted to be first to market, so I looked at all the expedited tiers that both services offered. Beckett has priority for $130, which claims a 2 to 3 day turnaround, while Tag was conveniently running a promotion where their $60 express tier had a 5-day turnaround. While Beckett's turnaround time is ostensibly faster, I've had submissions that seem to languish for weeks, whereas Tag seems to have a much more efficient intake process, so I went with Tag. Also, it was cheaper. Another reason I really like Tag is just the amount of transparency they provide you. The order page shows every step in the process, as you can see at the top. I submitted the order on the 18th and shipped it out the same day. Tag received it on the 19th and then started working on it the next day on the 20th. And it only took them 2 days to grade the card and encase it in the slab and have it shipped out to me on the 22nd for a turnaround time of around 3 days, which is kind of crazy considering that this card probably would not have made it out of the mailroom in 3 days for both PSA and definitely not Beckett. All right, enough glazing of Tag. I am slow rolling this reveal far too much, so I'll just get on with it. Another cool thing Tag does is they give you the option to seal their slab, which in most cases is kind of tedious, but is actually pretty cool for the purposes of this video. Okay, that was it, I promise. Okay, you can probably already tell what this is by that shimmer of red. But yes, I was able to pull the red Victini and it came back as a gem mint 10. Was hoping for the Pristine. I think to get the Pristine, you need to hit 990. We unfortunately only got 965. And I think it's because this is just slightly off-centered. But yeah, another reason why I really like Tag is this card is obviously a looker. And I think Tag, out of all the services, offers the best slabs, which do a good job accentuating the card and not sort of like taking away from the card with like a bunch of stuff involved with the slab itself. I promise I am not sponsored by Tag. So this card is currently selling for around 1.7k, which is pretty insane, but it's a good example of why you want to be first to market with these kind of chase cards from newer sets, because this card, while currently inflated, will probably depreciate pretty precipitously in the upcoming weeks. Although I think this card will appreciate over time as this set gets older and phases out. But the lesson here for young aspiring investor bros is that you should try to get your hands on some of these chase cards from the newer sets. Other examples would be the Zekrom and the Reshiram of the same rarity, and then probably also the Reshiram and Zekrom SIRs from Black Bolt and White Flare. Because if you're one of the first to get those cards graded, you can basically set the price and the card will only depreciate from there. All right, that is it for the update on this Victini. Let's move on to the Korean Metamon Project Ditto. The Korean Ditto we all know and love dipped for a little bit after my last video, but this little guy is proving to be quite resilient and is holding strong at around $270 for a PSA 10. I did, however, want to update you guys on a tech that I completely did not consider in my previous video. When you are blessed with such high gem rates, as it seems to be the case with these Asian promos, then you might want to consider sending your cards to Beckett instead of PSA. Because BGS 10s for this Ditto are currently selling for as high as $400, with a mythical Black Label selling north of $2,000. Am I torturing myself thinking about how many Black Labels I might have been able to get had I sent my cards to Beckett instead of PSA? Absolutely I am, every waking moment. But at least I was able to come into this epiphany about halfway through my stash because I've just started receiving my cards back from Beckett, and luckily they all came back a 10. So kind of a no-brainer, but I will be sending the rest of my stash to Beckett, and if I am able to get that fabled Black Label, I will definitely exploit it for future content in a future video. Your eyes are not deceiving you. You are not in the midst of a Pokemon fever dream. There truly are 200 BurgerChus stuffed like sardines in this prismatic surprise box. Most of my pre-orders got canceled, but in the end, I was able to buy around 200 sealed copies of the BurgerChu for around $15 each. They are now pushing $40, but of course, I am not going to be selling these sealed. I am going to get these graded. And I'm going to open some of these right now for us to look at the quality while I go over my plans. So obviously, the question is whether or not to, or which grading service to send these to. And as I alluded in the previous segment with the Korean Dittos, the quality of these is reportedly very high, and we're going to look at that right now. So centering looks actually rather perfect. Let's look at the back here, and the back looks pretty flawless. So yes, as I was saying in the previous segment, we discussed sending these Asian promos to Beckett, and I will definitely do that with these BurgerChus because the quality looks to be on par with the Korean Metamongs. So a card like this with seemingly perfect centering, I mean, it might be slightly heavy on the right, but this is definitely a candidate to send to Beckett. So my plan is to send the ones that look very high quality with very good centering to Beckett, and then send the rest to PSA. And then I will also try to collect the full sets of the secondary cards. So they have like Fue Coco, Sprigatito, of course. You have Quaxley, I think, and Lucario. So, and then I will try to make sequential sets of those with the lesser of the Pikachus and send those to PSA, while sending the cream of the crop to Beckett. And so far, quality looks really good. Let's look at a couple more. Because currently these cards in a PSA 10 sell for around $200, the Pikachu that is. But I imagine in a Beckett 10, they would go for at least 300, maybe 400. And then a Black Label could go for like 1,000, 1,500. And this one similarly looks really well centered. And the back also looks pretty flawless. So yeah, I mean, reports of these cards were that the quality was very good, and it seems to be that those reports were rather true. So yeah, another Pikachu. So these two Pikachus would be good candidates to send to Beckett. And like I said, I will be sending sequential sets of these to PSA and then trying to get full sequential cert numbers of the entire set. So I think that would be pretty cool. Let's look at maybe one more. So yeah, not sure what the ceiling is for these cards. I mean, the appreciation is actually quite surprising. I expected these to sort of hover around like the $20 to $30 range, but they have appreciated quite quickly to 40, and who knows how much higher they'll go. I know these were printed pretty heavily. I think it was reported around 1.5 million copies are out there. This one looks like it might go to PSA because the centering looks like it's biasing pretty noticeably towards the left side here. But then the back looks decently clean. So yeah, something like this would probably go to PSA, maybe with like a full set of the secondary cards. To chase those sequential cert numbers. That is the update for the BurgerChus. This is proving to be quite a decent play. Probably not at the same level as a Korean Metamong project Ditto, but who really knows what heights this particular card to ascend to. And it's another example of why you need to be paying attention to Asian promos. A lot of times the art is adorable and unique. Case in point, the BurgerChu with this burger, some cutlery, and looks to be a cup of orange juice. Very unique, very cute. And most of the time they have really good quality control, and they are limited, especially to us in the West. So yes, I would highly suggest keeping an eye out for future promos like this, and I will probably make videos if I see any myself that are compelling enough to make a play on. That is about it as far as this update on my adventures as an investor bro. If you have enjoyed this content in the slightest, please consider subscribing, dropping a like, dropping a comment, and dear friends and fellow collectors, until next time.